So Declan, we're speaking about, what, 36 hours after the Wolves game? Head still spinning a little bit? You're still processing that?
Yeah, really, really difficult to process in the moment. I think right now I processed it, digested it. Obviously, because we have such a big game on Sunday, we can't dwell on the other night too much. But from our standards, it was to be 2-0 up with half an hour to play. You know, you've seen us in games this season, we either go on to win that 3 or 4.
So let's talk about that 2-2 draw against Wolves, because Declan Rice said it perfectly: sickening. You're 2-0 up with half an hour to play. This season, that Arsenal team kills games. They make it 3. They make it 4. Or at the very least, they see it out professionally. But this time, they lost control. And that's the key word here: control.
Or we see the game out of 2-0, so to come back and for them to come back and draw 2-2 was sickening and very, very disappointing in the end.
Can you put your finger on...
Rice admits it. They stopped doing the basics. They allowed Wolves to drag them into a game of duels, long balls, second balls, silly fouls. Instead of dictating tempo, they reacted. Instead of managing the game, they got caught in the chaos. And in the Premier League, when you let momentum swing, it swings fast.
On what happened in that last sort of half an hour?
We just stopped doing the basics.
Why?
I don't know. It's easy.
What's interesting, though, is his mindset. He's not panicking. He's not blaming. He's calling it part of the journey. And that's big, because title-challenging teams aren't judged on perfection. They're judged on reaction. Now the dressing room? He made it clear it hurts. These players care. They demand from each other. That's
easy for people to say, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. In a game of football, it swings both ways all the time. We ended up getting into the game they wanted to play, which was Jaws.
how you build a winning culture. And he even said it. Sometimes truths have to be told in the moment. That's leadership. But here's the real test. Spurs next. You don't get time to sulk in a title race. You don't get time to feel sorry for yourself. Big teams respond immediately. So the question isn't what happened against Wolves. The question is, how do Arsenal respond now? Because if they want to win something this season, that 2-2 draw has to become fuel, not fear. And Sunday will tell us everything. Fire soccer ball.
Saying something and getting something off your chest that you feel can actually help the situation. So I think the other night that was needed because...
Now this is where it gets interesting. Because when you look at Arsenal's recent form on paper, it doesn't look great. Drop points. Late goals conceded. Questions starting to build. But Declan Rice said something very important. These are self-inflicted goals. Not tactical collapse. Not being outplayed. Mistakes.
2-0, we should have went on to win the game. We know the position we're in. But like I said, we've all just come in this morning and, we're men, we should kind of...
Second phases. First contacts at corners. Moments where Arsenal, usually one of the strongest defensive units in the league, switch off for a split second. And in the Premier League, that's all it takes. And he's right. Earlier in the season, people were talking about clean sheet records. Defensive perfection. But perfection doesn't exist in this league. You're facing top-level quality every single week.
The other night, it was disappointing. It was not nice, but we've come in now. We're ready to go for Spurs. So.
And what would you say about form in general?
Wolves aren't just Wolves away. They've got players who can hurt you. This isn't a crisis. It's margins. Now let's address the bigger narrative, pressure. Because for the last few seasons, Arsenal have been close, but not over the line. So naturally, people are asking, is that weight creeping in?
At the moment, 2 wins in 7.
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
Yeah, it's obviously not looking good on paper. My thing...
Rice shut that down immediately. He said for him, it's just another game. Another day. Outside noise doesn't matter. Fans from other clubs will talk. Critics will talk. But inside that dressing room, they believe. And that's the difference.
My thing is, I've looked yesterday at the results that we've had and the goals we've conceded, and I think the goals that we're conceding...
He even referenced what the manager said after the Manchester United game. Enjoy the position you've earned. That's a powerful mentality shift. Instead of fearing the pressure, embrace it. So this isn't a team collapsing under expectation.
We're self-inflicted goals. I could go through so many goals, but just where we'd make a mistake and we give the game back into the opponent.
This is a team learning how to manage moments. And if they correct those small, self-inflicted errors, this title race is far from slipping. The question is no longer, can Arsenal handle pressure? It's, can they eliminate the fine margins? Because that's what decides champions. Fire soccer ball.
100%. I think North London derby is always special. I've been able to play in a few of them now and I understand the rivalry, understand.
All right, now we're entering the mindset side of Arsenal, and this is crucial. Declan Rice nails it. Yes, the Wolves draw hurt. Yes, mistakes were made, but they're enjoying it. Every day, training, preparation, the camaraderie, the staff. He says it's unreal to be in this environment. And that perspective is key. You can't let setbacks define the season. You celebrate where you are, but you never stop pushing for more.
You know, who you're playing up against, what it means. And yeah, on Sunday, it isn't just going to be about football. It's going to be about how much you want it as well. You know, you're going.
He also highlights something subtle but massive. Consistency comes from responsibility. It's on the players to pick themselves up, stay switched on, and handle everything thrown at them. They can win every game, but only if they maintain focus, sharpness, and belief.
Away to Spurs, they have a new manager. Obviously, yeah, they've had loads of injuries, but it's going to be a game both of us are going to want to win. And there'll be a lot of quality on the pitch.
And that belief is going to be tested immediately, because next up is the North London Derby. Rice calls it the perfect next game, and he's not exaggerating. Spurs away, new manager, tension in the air, every element of a battle, every player forced to show desire as much as skill. This isn't just a tactical challenge, it's a mental one. How much do you want it? That's the real question on Sunday.
But that day it's all in your mind. You know, how much do you really want it? And yeah, you've got to fight for it. And trust me, I want it. So yeah, we're going to be ready.
He even embraces the battle element, leading from the front, throwing yourself into the fight. That's leadership on the pitch. That's how top teams respond to adversity. Away at Spurs, with a hostile crowd, injuries, and pressure all around, this is exactly the type of match that tests character and squad cohesion.
I feel like it's not that other games don't suit you, but it's kind of your type of match. You know, like a battle, a fight, something you can sort of.
And here's the takeaway. Arsenal's talent, experience, and mindset aren't in question. What will define them now is how they respond under fire. If they channel the Wolves' disappointment into energy, focus, and aggression in the derby, they not only regain confidence, but send a statement across the league. Sunday will reveal if Arsenal are just good or truly ready to challenge for everything. Fire soccer ball.
To ask you about how football has changed, Premier League has changed. How much has the league changed in the last, or even during the course of this season?
All right, let's break this down. Arsenal are riding a wave, but it's not just about the results. It's about the performances and the environment around the squad.
Yeah, so much. I think this is my 10th season in the Prem. I would probably say this has probably been one of the...
Rice highlighted the return fixture against Spurs, a game where Arsenal dominated every phase. High press, mid-block, defensive transitions. It wasn't just tactical superiority, it was energy, intensity, and that extra spark a London derby brings. That's why the result didn't shock anyone. The team shows up when it matters.
Probably is the toughest in terms of that it's been.
Do you mean the quality, the physicality, both?
I think the quality, yeah. I think a lot of...
Then there's the impact of new talent, like Ebra Ease. Rice makes it clear, stepping into a big club, under pressure, and still performing consistently is massive. Easy hasn't just survived, he's thrived. His mindset, work ethic, and ability to gel with the squad fast is a template for how young players should adapt. And Rice hints at the ceiling. There's still so much more to come. That's exciting for Arsenal fans.
People have an opinion that the Prem is not where it is. The Prem is not where it's at the minute. But you could ask any player in the Premier League, they'd tell you the opposite. I think a lot of people.
But here's the bigger picture. The Premier League itself is tougher than ever. Rice says this season might be one of the hardest in his 10 years. Quality is higher. Teams have multiple world-class players. Physicality and intensity are off the charts, and margins for error are tiny. One lapse, one misplaced pass, and a game can swing against you.
Well, the game has changed in terms of probably physicality, duels, set pieces, trying to gain an advantage wherever you can.
Yeah.
And that's why Arsenal's resilience this season is impressive. It's not about cruise control. It's about consistency under pressure, extracting performances even when the league is at its most competitive. Every player, from starters to substitutes, has contributed, showing this isn't a one-man or two-man show. It's a collective effort.
That's where it's changed. And in terms of the quality, every time you play against a team now, every team's got 2 or 3, 4 players who have world-class.
So when we talk about Arsenal challenging for the top spots, it's not just talent. It's mindset, adaptation, and dealing with a league that's evolved. And Rice's reflections tell us this team isn't just keeping up, they're ready to set the pace. Fire soccer ball.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've just tried to work as hard as I can and give it everything I've got. I watched a good podcast of
And now we hit a milestone. Sunday marks Declan Rice's 100th Premier League appearance for Arsenal. That's huge, not just in numbers, but in what it represents. Growth, leadership, adaptation. Rice has evolved into a versatile, box-to-box midfielder, someone who can dictate games, break lines, and protect the team when needed.
Steven Gerrard with Rio Ferdinand the other week, and he was just talking about himself as a midfielder and what he was, and he didn't put him down to one thing.
He even talks about emulating Steven Gerrard, that hunger, that control, that relentless drive to influence every part of the pitch. And you see it in his performances. Every tackle, every pass, every decision carries intention. Rice isn't just playing games. He's setting standards, inspiring teammates, and building a culture of excellence.
He just said he's a midfielder that could have done a bit of everything, but he was the best at doing everything. And I think he's someone that I love to look up to and look forward to.
But here's the kicker. He's not done. Rice openly admits there's still more to come. Every season, every game, he asks himself, how can I get better? That mindset, relentless self-improvement, is exactly what Arsenal need as they push for trophies.
Just because of how he was on the pitch, his demeanour, how he took games by the scruff of the neck, the fight he showed, the passion. And over the years, I've tried to watch him as much as possible, and I think...
And speaking of trophies, that's the missing piece. Talent, consistency, mindset, check. But silverware? That's what defines eras. Rice and his squad know it. They're hungry. They're focused. And the next few months? They're going to be a test of everything Arsenal have been building. Resilience, quality, leadership, and mentality.
I've started to grow into that much more. Still a long way off before I hit his level. But yeah, I think he's someone I've really tried to emulate.
So when we look at Arsenal now, after Wolves, gearing up for Spurs, integrating stars like Ebra Ease, thriving in a tougher Premier League, and with leaders like Rice reaching milestones, the picture is clear. This is a team not just chasing points, but chasing greatness. And if they channel all of that, focus, hunger, belief, the next trophies could very well be theirs. Fire soccer ball.